Well, I hate to make the same point twice, but when you're triggered, am I right? Seriously though, I was expecting Jackson to like show pictures and really paint this for the jury, but I guess he just supposes that they know simple math and can follow along. For me, I had to make a whole 12-minute video. And today I'm going to make a whole, I think, 7-minute video explaining why I think I nailed it yesterday and what. And then he managed to get Trooper Crash Test Dummy to admit that if the events happened that we've seen video of happening, if they did happen, then nothing happened during Karen's trip and everything happened when Trooper Proctor took possession of the vehicle. That's a whole problem.
So a key cycle is essentially from when the vehicle's off, it's pressed on. It doesn't necessarily need to be running or turned on. It just needs to be turned on and then off again. And that would be one key cycle.
What, if any, role did the key cycle numbers, or what kind of role did that play in your analysis?
So when I turned the vehicle on, when I did my testing, it shows me what key cycle it was that I was on when I did those testings. I have noted through arrows here, these were when the vehicle was with us, and a lot of this is related to my testing with the vehicle. And these right before that were the triggers that were prior to those testings. And
how many key cycles were different between your testing and that odometer reading of 12,629?
2 key cycles.
If your testing occurred at key cycle 1164, that means you turned the engine on, the ignition on to start your testing, correct?
Correct. And
that triggering event that we see up there at 1164 initiated your testing, is that right?
Yes.
All right. So starting at 1164 and counting backward, before you started your testing, you know that the SUV had to be started, the ignition had to be turned over, and it was driven to the Sally Port in Canton at 5:31 p.m. from a tow truck on January 29th, correct?
I didn't know that.
You did or did not?
Did not know that.
Okay. Let's talk about the ignition cycles.
Okay.
Before 1164. Okay?
Okay.
Obviously, the car had to get to Canton PD because you saw it there, correct?
Correct.
Assume for purposes of my question, the car was turned on, and there's a video of it turning on, driving up onto a flatbed tow truck.
Yes.
It had to get off the tow truck in Canton and be driven into the Sally Port. Did you ever see that video?
No.
Being driven in?
No.
If there was a video showing that the car was actually driven into the Sally Port, that would necessarily be a key cycle, correct?
Possibly.
Okay, so that would be key cycle 1163. My mistake.
Okay.
Before that, if the car was turned on and driven onto the flatbed to get to Canton, that would be key cycle 1162 in order, correct? We're going backward.
It's possible.
All right. Before that, if the car was started and the car was driven from One Meadows Avenue to Karen Reed's parents' home in Dighton, that would be another key cycle, 1161, correct?
They're possible.
Before that, if the SUV was started and driven by Miss Reed from the garage at John O'Keefe's house to Jennifer McCabe's house at 5:07 in the morning, that would be another key cycle, correct? 1160. Is that right?
It's possible.
And before that, if the SUV was started and driven by Miss Reed to the waterfall, from the waterfall to 34 Fairview at approximately 12:15 a.m., that would be another key cycle, 1159, right?
It's possible.
And it's clear that from the data, there was no triggering event at key cycle 1159, was there?
No.
So assuming the driving events that I just told you, right? Assuming for purposes of my question that the driving events started at 1159, driving over to 34 Fairview from the waterfall. then driving at 5:07 in the morning over to Jen and Cave's house, 11:60. Then driving to Dayton, her parents' house, 11:61. Then the car being seized in Dayton by Trooper Proctor, 11:62. Then the car being taken off the flatbed and driven into the Sallyport at Canton, 11:63. Your testing starts at 11:64. That would mean that at 11:62, that key cycle would include the time in which Trooper Proctor had possession of that car. Correct?
No.
Assuming my hypothetical.
Your hypothetical?
Yes.
If that's hypothetically how it works, then yes.
Then what?
If that's hypothetically how it works, then yes. So this one shows that the vehicle was in drive. It starts off in drive. It's slowing down to 0, and it goes to 0, which is neutral. Then goes down. Then it goes into reverse. So it's going straight. It stops. Then it gets placed in reverse, and then goes back. Goes in reverse.
I'm going to allow